to create this book that's traveling all around the world to 50 incredible artists. It all started in Australia with the Aussie crafter before traveling to North and South America, and now it's in the UK. So it's my turn. Let's do this. We need to open up this mysterious envelope and fill in the map before moving on to this book. And finally I get to add my name. Oh, it's so exciting. Look how chunky this book's getting already. It's gone to so many amazing artists. And the first prompt is to create stained glass. And I've actually already done this prompt before in my own chunky create this book. Last time we made a church out of stained glass. It's a cool concept that I absolutely love. We're going to be taking this and going in a different route with a similar look. Okay, let's get started. We need a tea, obviously, and I'm scared. I've loosely sketched out a scene for us, and this is what this sketch is looking like. This is an homage to the masters. We've got The Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh, Birth of Venus in the middle there by Sandro Botticelli, and finally, of course, we've got the Mona Lisa by Leonardo da Vinci from Assassin's Creed. And the first step is a big one. I've got a fine liner, and we need to draw all of these details. You would not believe how long this took. But you know what? This step is essential. And for this one, you're really gonna have to trust the process because it goes through a lot of different phases. We're using 100% cotton cardi paper, so there's a little bit of texture. And of course, we're gonna be using watercolor. This prompt was actually chosen by another artist that will be coming up in the collab. And I have a sneaky suspicion that they chose this prompt because they know that I like to use watercolor. Of course, I was gonna use watercolor for one of them. The background is loosely inspired by The Starry Night. We've got the little buildings at the bottom, the moon, the stars, the big thing on the left. Is that a tree? I'm not sure, but it's iconic, okay? These shapes and patterns are already in The Starry Night, but obviously we're taking a different approach here. Vincent doesn't tend to include black line work like this, and he doesn't really use watercolor, but I'm hoping that this combination is going to look like stained glass. I'm glad I already got the practice in with the previous one, because otherwise I probably would have been a little bit too scared to do this. It's honestly so exciting how full my own Create This book is getting now. We've created so many pages together, and the playlist is down below if you want to check it out. We get up to a lot of crazy stuff. We use so many different mediums, subjects, art styles. This art prompt book is literally perfect for experimentation and just having fun. I absolutely love it. And I'm so excited to finally get my hands on this book. I've had this idea in my mind for so long, but you know what? I think we need to talk about the elephant in the room. And by elephant, I mean Christmas tree. Yes, you can see Christmas decorations. I actually filmed this video in November. Okay, the book wasn't that far away at that point. In theory, it was supposed to be coming to the UK soon, but obviously there were delays, so here we are 7 months later. Unfortunately though, I have since got a new camera. So this top camera that you're seeing is actually my old DSLR. It was just after this that I got a new one for Christmas. So that's why you're seeing so many side angles. The top one isn't great, but here it is. This is the sketch all done, and now it's ready for paint. Reaching for my trusty watercolor palette. This is my favorite. Like, it's so pretty. A little bit messy, but I love it. Obviously, we need a cloth. Can't go making a mess now. Need some water, trusty paintbrushes, and then I think we're good to go. Honestly, this is so scary. We're not actually going to be using the wet on wet technique at all for this. Every single section is going to have to be painted individually, and we're going to have to wait for every part that's next to it to dry, because otherwise it's all going to bleed together and make a huge mess. And this isn't the way that I normally paint. I usually do like making a mess. I like making splatters, throwing a load of paint together and seeing what happens. But this is different. This is stained glass. So every single colored section needs to be separate. And this is gonna take a while. Oh, you might also notice that the desk looks different. Yeah, this is when I first got my desk. And I've since covered it in marble vinyl for the sole reason that it's really difficult to color grade something so orange. And I do love the marble. I know it's completely random to have a marble desk, but I just think it looks so pretty. But because of the continuity issues, I did actually consider refilming this whole thing. But honestly, I love the art. This piece here, you're gonna want to stay till the end to see how it turns out because it's one of my favorites ever. I absolutely love it, and it was so sad to let it go. I just couldn't part with it, and I couldn't part with the footage. We've actually got twice as much here as usual. It's really cool to see how this piece gradually comes together with loads of slightly different variations of the same color. But aside from that, there were actually two reasons why I filmed this video so early. Number one, I had plans. I was actually going on holiday and I needed to film Christmas content at the time. Something you may or may not know about me is that I like to be prepared and I like to be ahead. I've been uploading videos twice a week for over 2 years now without missing an upload, and I think that's how I manage it. I work really hard to film lots of videos and then even harder to try and stay ahead. Like right now, I've actually already filmed or part filmed every single video until September. So why don't you subscribe? I'm not going anywhere. The second part, with a project like this, I think the hardest hurdle to overcome is anxiety and pressure. It's a big thing. You're waiting your turn, and the longer the gap, it feels like there's even more pressure on you. So for me personally, I decided to film mine shortly after receiving the prompt. I knew I'd get scared and try to put it off or talk myself into trying to create the most mind-blowing video, and then the more I put it off, the worse my mindset would become. So I decided to acknowledge the anxiety and try to prevent it. Get it done as soon as possible. And that actually really helped because I've been chilling the past 7 months, looking forward to this amazing collab with so many incredible artists. Rather than worrying about it, that extra anxiety wouldn't have been helpful for me. So I do think it's better to tackle it head on rather than letting those feelings fester. As long as you make a plan and work through each step, if you know it could be a problem. If you also suffer from anxiety and there's something that you know could be a problem, putting it off will make it 10 times worse. So I prioritized this piece, and honestly, I am loving how this is turning out. As you might be able to tell, the color palette is loosely inspired by the Starry Night. You can see a lot of those blues and yellows, but there are a lot of different shades here. And obviously I wanted to make it a little bit more pastel because that is generally my art style. Though I must admit, this is a really weird way to create because it's kind of like a coloring page. You're filling certain areas and then having to move on to something else. It's odd. It's kind of like going back and forth all the time. But you know what? I think this bright blue is really making the piece pop. I'm pretty sure this is just ultramarine. And now I can see it. I can see the vision. But we've also got the Bath of Venus and Mona Lisa, which do have some interesting color palettes. My favorite color is pink. And there's like no pink in this at all. There's no pink in the Mona Lisa. But I do want to make the Mona Lisa pop, so we're going to make her a little bit more vibrant, still a little bit green and brown, but also orange. She needs to pop, okay? The background is already so bright, and we need her to stand out. Leaving that to dry before moving on to one big step, we need to seal the art. I've got a cold wax medium and a cloth to seal in that watercolor. This isn't something that I normally do, but this book is literally traveling across the world. And we also have to do the worst step. This piece of art, we need to slice in half. Okay, wish me luck. But it's not until I put the paper in place that I realized the cut would go straight down the middle of Venus. So we can't do that. We're gonna have to lose a little bit from the left side in order to avoid slicing the face in half. Luckily, I've already taken a high quality scan of this piece, but that still didn't make it any less scary. We've got the Mona Lisa on one side and then Venus and a little bit of that tree on the other. Cutting off those edges. And what are we gonna do with them? Well, I've got an idea. I want to stick them in my own Create This book, so I've got a little piece of the collab there too. And how cute does that look? We need to add the prompt in a little section here, and also my name, before moving on to the second prompt. Create a sequel. This one was chosen by me, and we're going to be using acrylic markers on this paper where I've already done the sketch, and I'm going to have to explain what this is. This is the sequel to Monsters, Inc. Well, the sequel that never happened, the one that so many of us wanted to happen and it never came. Trying to find the exact shades and and this is proving a little bit difficult. We're gonna have to make do. I think this is the closest one to Boo's skin tone. Almost. Ah well, we'll figure it out. I am scared. I don't know if we're gonna pull this off. Giving them a shake to get that first base layer down. Monsters Inc. is one of my favorite movies. It came out in 2001, following a little girl called Boo, who accidentally ends up in the monsters world with James P. Sullivan and Mike Wazowski. And then they made a prequel, Monsters University, that takes place beforehand. It's all about how Sully and Mike met. And then afterwards, Disney actually made a series called Monsters at Work. I have actually seen it. It's a sequel series that takes place after Monsters Inc. and it's set at work, following a whole bunch of new monsters as they go about their day. So I'm painting Boo all grown up, reaching for a purple marker that doesn't work in the slightest. I guess it's clogged. We don't have many other purples. I guess this one will have to do. Well, anyway, before Monsters University was created, did you know that Disney actually planned to make a Monsters Inc. 2, a sequel, something that we all wanted, but not how we wanted. Okay, it was going to be called Monsters Inc. 2, Lost in Scaradise, and the plot is crazy. Like, you can see exactly why they didn't make this into a film, because it is dark. Okay, this is the plot for the sequel that Disney was originally planning to make. It would have picked up over a year after the original movie, when Boo's repaired door was put in the archive area. Due to their unique bond, Sully was unable to let go of Boo, so Mike set up a visit on Boo's birthday. When they arrived through the door, they find a snoring old woman in the room, leading them to set out into the human world to find Boo. In time, they realized that doors weren't connected to specific closets, but instead they were gateways to particular people, which is a cool concept. Time moved a lot faster in Boo's world, so in reality, she was that elderly old woman hooked up to hospital machines. When Sully and Mike realized this fact, they would have visited Boo again, and before she passed, the figure would have recognized her furry blue friend. Okay, that was the concept. That was the idea they had for the Monsters Inc. 2 movie. How dark is that? The concept that they go looking for Boo and that's what they find. You know what? I'm glad they didn't make it, because that is dark, even for a Disney film. So of course they made Monsters University. They made more light-hearted stuff, and I can see why. But the other idea that's going around on the internet is the concept that Boo is a teenager and she ventures into the monsters world to try and find Sully and Mike. And that one sounds a lot more fun. So that's the one that we're going with. And you know what? I would be here for this sequel. I would love to see a Boo-led sequel where she's trying to find them. And that's why you can see me struggling to draw, well, everything, because it's not really going to plan. My art style with acrylic markers is kind of like a block highlights and shadow style. I don't even know how to explain it. And at this point, I'd only done it like once. So we are winging this. But you know what? It's okay, because the first piece is pretty good, if I do say so myself. So I'm happy to just have fun, add some pinks, add some purples, just go with it for this one, because it is just a cute little piece that reminds me of my childhood and Disney. We've got the door. Obviously it needs its iconic flowers, but we've got Sully, we've got Mike, and I've been having a lot of fun with these acrylic markers. It's crazy. They're such a different medium to watercolor, and I don't know why I like them so much. I think it's because they're so easy to use, especially compared to like acrylics and trying to mix all those colors with a paintbrush. These are just so easy, and they're such a forgiving medium. And funnily enough, I did actually get a request recently to paint Monsters Inc. for the Scene series, where we paint movies and TV shows. So it's good. I finally get to show you what I made. Does this count? I think it kind of counts. Like, it is Monsters Inc. It's just for a sequel that doesn't exist and may never exist. The piece is looking cute, but I think it needs more contrast. We need to deepen those darker shades and add some black. This is literally the scariest part, because it could all go wrong. Boo's hair isn't even that dark, but obviously we don't have that many brown colors, so we're just gonna have to make do. Adding in a couple of areas of black, little bit of line work, but I still want these characters to be recognizable, and I hope that they do make a sequel in future. One that's focused focused all around Boo. I think that could be so much fun. I don't really know what they're doing now though because of the series, which is technically a sequel, so it's like they're going in a different route. But who knows? Maybe a Boo sequel could take place after the Monsters at Work series ends, because Sully and Mike aren't actually in that very much. From what I remember, it's mostly based around all of the other monsters. So I don't think it would change things very much. I think we could have a Boo sequel, and that would be fun. All that's left are those iconic flowers. They need to be on the door. I'm actually adding them all around the background too, which is bright yellow. Honestly, I just felt like this color would have the most contrast, and you know what? It does kind of work. Let me know what you think of this art style. It's still something that I'm developing, but so far I'm loving it, and I'm loving how this piece has turned out. But it's paint, so we need to seal it. And this time we're reaching for the decoupage, a cheap paintbrush since technically it's glue. Oh, but before we get started, we need to scan this piece. Super important because I'm never gonna see it again. And whilst I am sad to be saying goodbye, this book is gonna look incredible when it's done. When over 50 artists have completed every page, how amazing is that flip through gonna be? We're cutting it in half and adding my final piece to this book before it goes off to another artist. It's a really cool project, and you would not believe how many amazing artists are still yet to come. Though unfortunately, I've got 2 artists on either side, so this was not a fun process. I got lucky the first time round. But before we see the reveal, and before the book heads to Europe, Australia, and America, I've got a very exciting announcement. My shop is now open. You can get both of these pieces as a print or sticker, along with so many other pieces that we've created here on this channel, for Peachtober, for the Scene series, for the Bullet Journal, the Daily Doodle Diary, a live stream. There are so many fun pieces here that we've created together. It's finally here, the shop is open, and it's down below if you want to take a look. I've been excited about this project for over a year, and I just can't believe it's finally happened. Thank you so much for joining and seeing what I created as part of this project. It would really mean a lot if you could subscribe, because now it's done. We need to move the book along. But who's it going to? Literally the funniest artists on YouTube. I have loved their channel for years. It's Doodle Day. Here you go, guys. Thank you, Chantelle. And it's time for the reveal. First up, we had to create stained glass. Using fine liner and watercolor, we've created a homage to the masters, Mona Lisa, Birth of Venus, and Starry Night in a cool color palette. And I was so happy with it. And then for the second prompt, create a sequel, we painted Boo, Mike Wazowski, and James P. Sullivan for the sequel that hopefully might get made one day. Please give this video a like if you've enjoyed it. Have a lovely rest of your day. Look after yourself, have a cup of tea, and I'll see you in a few days. Bye bye.